Hey my friends, and welcome. I'm Christine. I appreciate you so much for stopping by, and let's get started. Project number 1. I found this at my Goodwill and did not know until I cleaned off the stickers that this was a little pot from IKEA. I guess I just did not pay it any attention. So I am going to paint, well, first of all, I'm going to add some air dry clay with these molds that are from Redesign with Prima. These are called elegant borders. Now this one is kind of like a stick and looks like it has some flowers on it, but it's a smaller one. So I'm going to put down a good little bit of cornstarch there and then flip it over, just get any excess out. I'm going to lay my kind of roll up, kind of like a snake, and I should have done it skinnier. Y'all see that it was real fat here and I'm really having to stretch it. But I'm going to lay in my air dry clay in there, push it in with my fingers. And then I do come back with a paint knife, an art knife, and that's how I scrape mine. A lot of people use a credit card. Some people just use their fingers and push it out, but I kind of use that little art knife there. And lo and behold, y'all, don't judge. One of my thumbnail fell off, so you can tell it's different. I struggle. Anyhow, so once I get these done, I'm going to do 2 of these, and I'm going to put a little rope edge around the top. Now, my little pot does not have a lip to it, but it does have a good texture, so I knew that it would take that real well, that mold there. I wish it kind of would have had a lip, and I could have put the mold up to it, and that would have been easier kind of judging the spacing, but I just eyeballed the spacing with it. And then you've got time once you put these on your project to move them around. But I'm going to put them on with Thick and Quick. Is that right? Titebond. Thick and Quick. That is right. So you can see I'm flipping my little mold over. These are silicone, so they will move around. And sometimes you just kind of have to take your fingers and kind of work it a little bit, but be careful. They're delicate. Now, if they do happen to separate, don't panic, because you can always kind of push them back together and play with them, because I've had them kind of separate on me before, and you can put them back together, but just be kind of delicate pulling this out. And the next one I did fell out a little bit better. So I'm going to go on the back, and that's where I'm going to put my glue, and I just spread mine out with my fingers. You can use a brush if you don't want to use your fingers, certainly. Some people don't like to use their hands to do this, but you can see I'm kind of judging where I need to space it. And on my second one, when I put it down, I did have to cut it, and I just cut it with that art knife. I got it as close as I could to the edge, and they did match up. Now, the design didn't perfectly match up, but you're not really going to notice that. So then when I got it done, I let it sit for a little bit, but I don't want my molds to dry. I've heard several people say that they think if you paint them when they're a little bit wet, that prevents cracking. Now, I do have some cracking, but I will say on this project, I really didn't see any cracking on this one. So maybe I just did better with putting a thicker coat of paint on it or painting it sooner. I'm not sure, but this one did really well. Now, I should have taken when I was putting it on and kind of cradled it between 2 things, since it's a round surface and it's kind of hard to prop up, because I did in the end smush a little bit of the mold, but then I just took my fingers and pushed that back together and kind of put that design back in there, and it was fine. Honestly, it's fine. So after this dries, your paint dries completely, and like I said, don't let your mold completely dry. Put your paint on there wet. And then after it dried completely, I am going to use some antiquing wax. And I did that just because I'm using a French linen paint on there, and I'm not showing you that. But I did use French linen paint, and it took 3 coats of it. I don't know if it's just because of the texture or the mold or whatever, but I came back with some antiquing wax. I was only going to do the mold itself, but then once I did that, then the rest of the pot just looked a little too new to me, if that makes sense. So then I just kind of dry brushed and did some areas a little bit heavier on the pot itself. And you see those transfers there, those, I've used those in the past. So if you've watched my channel, thank you guys so much. I've used those in the past, but those are called vintage lavender. So I just ended up with a little bucket there of the lavender sticking out, and I am going to put that on the front of my pot. And then once it dries, I'm going to seal it very well. And that is project number 1. Y'all finish watching it and let me know how you like it. And a little tip for you here when working with rounded surfaces on your transfers, see me with the scissors, just make you a couple slits to get that transfer to lay down real well. I did start at the bottom this time. I normally would start at the top, but since my top got towards the edge, I started at the bottom. And then on the sides, I did cut some slits on the side too, and you can tell that my transfer laid down perfectly fine. And as always, if you go to pull it up and some of it's still stuck, you can see me here. Just push that vellum paper back down and then use your stick to push in that transfer to get it off of that top. And then when you're through, of course, flip that top piece over to the slick side. Rub that on your project just to marry that in with your paint and your surface that you're working with. And then, like I said, I just sprayed everything real well, and here you go. And project number 2, I bought this little terracotta pot, y'all, a while back, and that was either free or Dollar General. I am going to paint it with just 1 coat of cottage white chalk paint, and then I am going to use these beautiful stamps, and these are from Redesign, and this is the Monarch collections. Y'all, they're so beautiful. Now, I am still learning about stamps, so y'all bear with me in my projects. I'm getting it. I want y'all to craft along with me and tell me what luck you're having with stamps. They're absolutely beautiful, but I've made some mistakes in the past, so I'm trying to just learn from them. But after I painted that 1 coat of that cottage white, then I did take my finger sander and I wanted to distress this pot some. I thought that would kind of be the look that I was going for. Now, I didn't show y'all at first me doing the stamps, but I did not use a backing when I did them because it was on a curved surface and I didn't want to use a backing. I just felt like I had more leeway using my hands. So I'm using China Blue ink from IOD, and that is such a beautiful color to use. So that's what I stamped them with, but now I'm going to show you. I'm going to come back with a bee and a butterfly, and I'm kind of going to do them staggered along that lip, along that edge. So you can see me stamping here, and this is usually how I do it. I will flip it over and I will actually take the ink pad and stamp it. Use your wet wipe if you need to go on the edge and touch that up any. So you want to press, once you get it where you want it, you want to press straight down. Keep a good firm pressure on it with at least one finger, and then take your others to smooth it out, tap it out, or however, but you just don't want to be moving your transfer. And you can see when I take this up, I will show you I wasn't completely satisfied with it. So I'm going to tap my wet wipe, and I'm just going to take that ink off. This is the beauty of this ink. You've got some time to work with it, and you can totally take it back off your project. So here I am. I'm going to stamp it again, and I think I just did not do the ink as heavy this time. And I'm going in, and I'm going to make sure I'm not moving that stamp around. So make sure you've got firm pressure on it. Use your fingers to tap down around the edges. If you're gonna switch hands, make sure you've got one finger on it good from the other hand, and then switch hands. But you can see I just really kept that one thumb there, and I pressed that side down. When you pull it straight up. Look how cute. Now of course it's not going to do in the lip, but I'm going to come back once I've done both my stamps there and everything dries and I've sealed it, because you do want to seal it. And then I did come in with some ribbon and just tied a knot around it, and I just put some florals in it to display for you guys. But let me know what you think about this one, and please let me know if you've worked with stamps any. I love the look of them, but I'm always trying to do them on non-flat surfaces, so I know it's a little bit harder. But y'all, look how adorable this is. Okay, project number 3 and our last project, and I hope you're enjoying. And please smash that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to my channel. Help me meet my goal, you guys. I'm trying to get to 1,000 really bad. It's really hard, but I'm trying to get there. It will just help me to be able to stay doing my YouTube videos, and I love doing this crafting. I love sharing with you guys, and I hope you're enjoying it and I'm providing some benefit for you. So I've got this little galvanized tin, and I'm going to leave that little nautical rope looking rope around the top of it. I'm not going to bother with that because I kind of like the looks of that. I am going to put that rice paper. I'm going to use that little chicken because it's just so cute and that's springy to me. I'm going to use him, and I get that rice paper, a lot of it from Decoupage Central. That came from Decoupage Central, so check them out if you're looking for some good decoupage and some good rice papers. Now I'm going to take, because that tin's a little too glaring for me, too bright and shiny for me, so I am going to take 2 coats of gel stain and just kind of wipe that around my tin just to dull that look down, because that shiny is not the look that I'm going for. Now since I've got a darker background and I want to use that rice paper, you will see me, I am going to paint the back of my rice paper. You can do that, you guys, because if you paint it a white, if your subject piece was white, then you wouldn't have to paint the back of the paper, obviously. But if you're putting onto a dark surface and you don't want to, you can't measure it, so you just want to paint the back of it, that's going to make those pop a little bit more. You don't have to, but then it's just going to be kind of dull. It's going to dull your piece down. Now, when I'm working with rice paper and decoupage paper lots of times too, I will take a little brush, dip it in some water, and I'm going to tear around the edges. I want it very organic. I don't want to cut it even. I'm not going to follow this pattern. I just want it very organic looking. And rice paper is wonderful because the way that it pulls off, it leaves you a nice little edge there.
that just, it's got these little fibers to it, so I really do like working with the rice papers. So I kind of measured out the size I needed him, and then I'm just going to wet. Just don't wet too close to your subject, because then you might end up tearing what piece you want to put on there, and you don't want to do that. So just give yourself some room to work with. And then, like I said, I'm going to paint the back of that paper, let that dry. And then I'm just coming in with some Mod Podge, and my Mod Podge is in matte, just because, again, I'm trying to dull this whole look of this pot down. And I'm going to put it on with my Mod Podge, and then I'm going to coat the top of the rice paper, but also the whole bucket itself. Not that rope part, but the bucket itself, to help dull it some more. And then I'm just going to stage it some, and then I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Give me some thumbs up, some likes, give me some comments, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have for me. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future, so I can go grab and make sure my craft supply is all stocked. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.